Casting stations.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in on this Tuesday. J-Mo, I couldn't believe my eyes last night because it's only January 24th, and I was watching All-Star Game defense last night. Nobody was playing it. It was the craziest thing I ever saw in Sacramento. I mean, I sacrificed to stay up late, 9:30 game time. Come on, that's late. Sacrifice to stay up to watch that. The Grizzlies gave up 12 threes in the first quarter, which, by the way, tied an NBA record. I would be willing to bet it was the record for the most accurate one quarter of threes because they were 12 of 13.
Made the first 10 in a row.
Now, there was no Ja and there was no Steven Adams, but you're not expecting them to defend threes, right? 12 out of 13. They had 47 points in the first quarter. What's going on? That's like, what? That's 188 points.
On pace.
On pace. Crazy. 22 total threes by Sacramento last night. Now, I know their game is to outscore you, but that's just ridiculous defense. By the way, those 22 threes came at a 55% clip. I mean, you could probably hit 55% unguarded. Were they guarded? Awful. Awful. Trey Lyles had a season-high 24. Sabonis, by the way. Did you think he would be this good when he was at Gonzaga? I thought he'd be a good player, but I didn't think he'd be leading the league with 36 double-doubles. Did you?
Yeah, I don't know about at Gonzaga, but after I saw him his first couple years
in
Indiana, I was like, this guy's got what it takes.
Well, his dad was a great player.
That's right, a really good player. Very different style of game, though, too.
But he's not nearly as big as his dad.
No, not at all.
So that I just didn't see it. I mean, I thought he'd be an NBA guy, but I didn't see him dominating the way he is. That's really incredible. So Bane had 21, Triple J 19, Brooks 13. He had 6 assists in the game. Still shoots too much. And then Tyus Jones filled in for Ja as the starter. He had 12 with 8 assists, typical Tyus Jones kind of a ball game. But that's 3 losses in a row. Sacramento, by the way, has now won 7 of their last 8. They are trying to catch the Grizzlies. So the Grizz are now 2 behind Denver, 3.5 ahead of Sacramento. They got Golden State on Wednesday. That could be their 4th straight loss on the road.
Could be.
What's troubling is, well, they have the best home record we mentioned yesterday at 13-3. They're now 11-13 away from FedEx Forum. And I believe I heard, I don't know if it was Pete, somebody say this last night. In the Western Conference, I don't know if you can check this really quick. I believe they're like 5-11 now.
On the road.
On the road against the Western Conference.
That's right.
Those are the teams they're going to play in the playoffs.
It will be.
5-11. That is troubling, honestly.
And remember, one of those losses was to a Thunder team on the road that didn't even have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that
SGA,
night. Isaiah Joe went off for him against them. So you're right. Those are some woes.
I don't know what it is because, honestly, they were not a bad road team last year. I think they were the 3rd best road team in the NBA last year. Same guys pretty much except for Anderson and Melton.
Wow, 26-15 on the road last year.
I know. So how is this happening? I don't get it. But they need not playing John and Adams is one answer. Play them. But they're still in solid position for second, and maybe they just think this trip is a throwaway.
Especially after you won all those games in a row at home, you have some to lose in that regard.
Right.
For instance, maybe sitting last night.
Then again, look at who they played when they won the 11 in a row. I don't want to take anything away from that because it tied the streak for the longest one, which they set last year. But a lot of it is the way the matchups go. And they've got to solve the problem on the road because they are not the same team. They don't play with the same intensity. And defense last night, that's a joke. I'm sorry. You can't allow 22 threes at 55%.
I agree.
That's just ridiculous, although this league is going crazy. So last night, Sacramento gets 133, right? You got to explain this to me because I thought the way the intensity level of the NBA had gone up, which is why they have to have missing games for load management, it's because you don't walk it up anymore and all that other stuff. But last night, the Bucks put 150 on the Pistons. Now, I know the Pistons aren't a great team, but 150?
And the Pistons specifically are terrible defensively. They still scored 132. The biggest reason, in my mind, that scoring is as far up as it is, whether it be individual or team, is the new take foul rule, where you cannot foul guys going on in transition like that, which allows you to set up your defensive possession.
How many points is that? Come on.
I mean, it's a lot. You think about how much teams are pushing the ball in transition, and NBA players, if they're on a 3-on-2 or 4-on-3 or 2-on-1, they're going to score a vast majority of those possessions, and that really has affected the game in ways that I'm not even sure the NBA anticipated when they changed that rule.
Possibly not. It is a good rule, though. Really,
certainly.
But I don't know if I'm buying that. That not for 150 by Milwaukee, not for 147 by Portland last night. Okay,
on a back-to-back.
So they put that on San Antonio, which we know is not a very good team this year, but still that's Pop's defense. 147. I don't believe that was a lot of stuff on free throws from. The take foul thing. I don't see that.
Well, it's your ability to push the ball, though. You know what I mean? Like, because they're not going to foul, there's more transition opportunities in that regard. There's other factors, too, but to me, that seems to be the biggest difference, is there's a lot more transition opportunities in these games.
Well, the biggest difference in the game, both collegiately and in the pros, is you get that transition, and instead of trying to go to the hole, you penetrate and kick to a wide-open three, and the proficiency of – I don't know what the numbers are, but I would bet you if you looked 4 or 5 years ago at accuracy of three to now, it's better. That's just my gut feel, but I would have to think that is just absolutely crazy. 150, 147, 133, and they scored 47 in a quarter. I mean, what happened to defense in the NBA?
Hey, but the Kings in the fourth quarter decided we're going to take a stand on this defensive stuff. Said the Grizzlies are only scoring 10 points in the fourth quarter.
I know.
So they took a stand in that regard yesterday.
Well, the Grizzlies gave up.
Yeah, they did.
Early in that fourth quarter.
And the bench the Kings were playing was far, far better than all the rookies that the Grizzlies had.
Well, they didn't bring the rookies out until the last, 5 minutes?
5 or 6 minutes of the game, yeah.
I didn't look at this really quick because you usually have the numbers right in front of you. What was their free throw percentage last night, the Grizz?
Yeah, they only shot 10, 8 of 10.
8 of 10. Well, that's better because that is a troubling thing.
Certainly.
I believe they're at the bottom, if not the worst, in the NBA at free throw shooting. And that's going to come back to haunt you. You've got to hit free throws down stretches in important games.
You have
and you hate to say it, but Phoenix, I mean, even though there was a lane violation, they admitted they missed. And I love Brandon Clark, you know that. But BC missed a critical free throw that would have sent that Phoenix game into OT.
Yeah, the Grizzlies shoot the worst free throw percentage in the NBA by 3 percentage points.
I thought it's awful. Good teams have to shoot free throws. They do. What is their percentage?
71% as a team.
And so the next team is 74%?
Yes, and that's the Spurs.
Number 29?
The Spurs, Mavs, Nuggets, and Bucks are all tied at 74.2.
What's the best percentage in the league? Who's got it?
The Celtics shoot 83%, and they're also the best team in the league.
They are the best team in the league. I don't think there's any disputing that whatsoever. But that's crazy. All the offense and the Grizz, they got to find some answers. One would be at the free throw line, but the other would be defensively, and particularly last night. That was an ugly story, and that, it doesn't get any better because now they got to go Golden State. Golden State really, their dislike for Memphis is real,
They very well could play that lineup they played against the Celtics, where they only play 8 guys and pretty much Steph and all those guys play the whole game because they want to win that basketball game.
They do. Well, they're trying to move up the ladder.
That's right.
I think you definitely want to try to be in the top 4 if you can, so you get one series of home court advantage. You certainly want to be in the top 6 because you don't want to be in the play-in. So we'll see. And the Grizzlies are not in any danger of slipping out of the top 6 or even the top 4 at this point. But they have to figure out their road woes. That is for certain. And it's certainly not going to get any easier because they go to the Bay and Golden State's awaiting for them on Wednesday night. That'll be another late night game. Kansas lost for the 3rd straight game. You know when the last time that happened was?
I can't even venture a guess, but
You're a Big 12 guy.
I know, but I don't even know when. It would have to be.
I'll tell you this. It's the 3rd time that it's happened in Bill Self's tenure.
I was about to say, I didn't
that
even
they
think
lost 3 games in a row.
I didn't even think it would have been under Bill Self. I'm going to guess 2005.
You're cheating.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. What were you looking at? You're
Nothing.
cheating. I know you're cheating.
I was clicking on different dates, but I didn't find one. I just took a guess. I went to 09. I didn't see it. I said, let's just go back further.
So
05.
apparently he lost 2003 and 4 3 in a row. That was his first year there. And then he lost 2004 and 5 3 in a row. And then he hasn't lost 3 in a row until right now. We got Mike DeCourcy. He's coming your way last segment of the program. Of course, we'll be talking the NFL with our friend Jeff Moore. And I'm looking forward to his summation of divisional weekend and what we've got with the championships that are coming up. But Kansas loses for the 3rd time in a row. And I was wondering, because I was writing down notes last night on what I wanted to ask Mike DeCourcy. I saw this very, what I thought was an interesting debate from Kornheiser and Wilbon. And they were going, which is the more damaging of the losses between the 1 and 2 team? Houston losing at home to Temple, or Kansas at 2 at that time, losing to TCU at home, but by 23. And both of them thought losing at home by 23. I mean, they didn't even go into the Houston loss, because the Houston loss, and that's fluky. First of all, they missed all those free throws. They were 11 of 21 while Temple was 20 of 22, right? So free throws really are the difference in the game. And then you just know you're not going to win the game that's fluky, that you're going to lose some, right? When they set up this most perfect circle play that I talked about yesterday, the lob is perfect, and Mark misses a shot from a foot above the rim. All he's got to do is drop it. And he missed it somehow. So that's a fluky loss. Now, Kansas has some problems. They lose at home by 23, and granted, the Big 12's the best league. But you lose at home by 23, and it's your 2nd straight loss at home there? Come on. That is telling you there's trouble in Jayhawkland.
If I could play devil's advocate on the other side, TCU's also a top 20 Ken Pomeroy and net team. And Temple is, what?
160?
160, something like that.
Yeah.
So it is a 20-point loss. But in that regard, the Big 12 is one of the best leagues in college basketball right now.
I agree. But losing by 23, you're never in the game. And you lose, Temple does, to a bad team. I mean, Houston does. You know, Houston's got, I think, really good starters. I'm not sure about their depth. Obviously, we'll know more as we play them. But in the couple of times that I've watched them play, I think there is a marked drop-off when they get to their bench. Now they got Sasser. They got that kid Roberts, who did not have a good game against Temple, who's impressed me. And I'm trying to remember who the freshman is. I don't think he played well in that game either. But you're just not – look.
Walker? Jarris Walker? Is that right?
I think that's it.
He's a freshman starter. That's all. Yeah,
that's it. What did he have in that game?
He had I'm on the wrong side. He had 9 points, 3 of 11 from the from 2.
Yeah, he had a bad game too. I would just tell you this. First of all, Temple is not a terrible team. I know they're 163, but they underperformed, and they beat Villanova earlier in the year. So they're not totally chopped liver.
And Ole Miss.
And Ole Miss. Everybody seems to be beating Ole Miss.
And Vanderbilt, another team Memphis played.
Yeah. And the Tigers did get them there.
Oh, I'm sorry. They lost both those games. I misread that.
They lost to Ole Miss?
Mm-hmm. They did. But in Oxford, though, but it was a close game. They ended up Ole Miss ended up pulling away at the end. And they lost in overtime to Vanderbilt.
Huh.
But they beat VCU.
They beat VCU just like Memphis did.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, the Villanova win is their best win. And that was a Big Five win. And, that city is crazy when it comes to college hoops. They got the Big Five, and those they go at it tooth and nail. Their non-conference is a lot of fun in that city because they all play each other, which I think is a really cool concept for sure. And I think it's the only city that's like that. Like Chicago could do it. You got Northwestern, Loyola, DePaul. You got UIC now. But they don't do anything like that. Only in Philly, and it's traditional. So you got, Penn, Drexel, LaSalle, Temple, Villanova. Those are the 5 in the Big Five, right? I think they are.
Right.
Well, no, you got St. Joseph's in there.
Oh, St. Joseph's.
I missed maybe St. Joseph's instead of LaSalle. They got so many teams in that would be the place to, if you love college hoops and you just wanted to be in a city where you watch a good game every night in the winter, you got it right there in Philly. And look, if you get bored with that, you can always go see the 76ers. It's cool.
I was going to say Rutgers because there's so many teams up in that New York
but
area,
that's
but
New
they don't
Jersey.
and they don't do anything like that either.
No. And Rutgers is like it's
Is it that far
you
away?
You land
really?
in New York City, but it's like it's a hike.
Really?
Yeah. It's a hike, as I recall, because when Memphis was in that Big East for that 1 year, they played there. That was one of the most disappointing. First of all, it's old, it's dirty. It looks like it's the campus is near a warehouse district, and their facilities are aging. I mean, you look at that, you go, "This is a Big Ten school, really?" But
they're playing good basketball now.
They are, and they got in for one reason: the New York City market.
They love
but
that market.
I always wonder this. It's like Houston gets into the Big 12, and they go, "Oh, we want the Houston market." You don't get prep. They don't get the penetration of the market there. They just don't. That is a major league town. The Texans get a lot of pub.
Well, any college fans are University of Texas fans.
Right. And they got all those alums. Exactly. Poor Rice. They don't get anything. But they're in the American now. Suddenly it'll all change. This is going to be fun talking with Mike DeCourcy. He wrote a nice story about Kentucky and their woes and the fire that Calipari is under, so we'll chat with him. I was really happy for DeAndre Williams. DeAndre, if you haven't heard, he was named the Conference Player of the Week this week. So you got 5 with Kendrick Davis now, and now this kid gets it. He's 26. He got his first time he's ever been Player of the Week in the conference. He made the honor roll several times. But I'm really happy for him. He averaged like 26 and 12 in the 2 games. So he's got his due, and he's playing his best basketball. He looks like a guy who I'm not sure there's anybody that can stop him. Locken, the Cincinnati guy, might be the biggest, tallest, heaviest dude. Now, Durr, who plays at UCF and played for USF, he's been hurt. So they didn't play him. We might see him later. I can't think of another really big guy in the league that can stymie DeAndre Williams. So I'm really happy for him. And then I don't know what Ryan Silverfield is doing, but I love it. Did you see he added 3 more players?
I heard that.
So he added a receiver from Marshall that has a relationship with Tim Cramsey. This guy's name is Corey Gramatov, something like that. I can't read my own writing. Is that not pitiful? I can tell you this, though. Corey has led Marshall in receiving for the last 3 years. And he's huge, 6'4", 220. That's about as big as Sean Dykes was as our tight end.
Looks like Gammage.
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 Okay, that's probably right. Corey Gammage. He was all Sun Belt. I think it was honor roll, but all Sun Belt, leading receiver on a productive Marshall offense for 3 years. And I guess he wanted to be reunited with Cramsey. And, he sees a quarterback like Hennigan. He's going, wow, this could be great. So that's amazing. And now Memphis has replaced the guys that left with 4 guys that are pretty intriguing. One from Missouri. I mean, it's good stuff. He also got a high school kicker, because remember, he got a kicker that transferred from another school that is very accurate, very good. So now, if this kid doesn't play next year, you can redshirt him, and you should be pretty set, because apparently he's pretty good. He's from Mount Juliet. And then they got a running back who is a high school player out of Louisiana. His name is Walter Samuels, a 3-star guy. They say, I never totally believe this stuff, but apparently they say that he runs a 4.38 40, which is fast. He was originally committed to Tulane. I don't know why he backed off that original commitment and committed to Memphis yesterday. So they had 3 more, and obviously this new class coming in with all the transfer portal stuff, I mean, this has really become a very, very hopeful moment, because you should be better than last year, and you should have been better than 500, which is what you were a year ago. Well, 7-6 when you count the bowl game.
And they added other running backs in the transfer portal too.
Oh yeah.
But speaking to what you said about the 4.38, on his huddle page, it says he's a versatile pass catcher who models his game after Saints running back Alvin Kamara. So you could say an Alvin Kamara type.
Let's go. I don't know how big he is, but I'm really the Gamage guy. Best leading receiver for 3 years.
All conference player.
With Hennigan, and that I could see them easily sort of making him more of a tight end type of receiver, depending on the speed on the outside. Should be a lot of fun. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studio, and a reminder, the 4 model sale going on hot and heavy at I-40 and Whidden Road. That's where family leisure, family and fun all coming together. Lowest prices of the year on pool tables, spas, patio furniture, and all the game tables. Please go see it. It's going to last, maybe another 10 days or so. That's about you. They always change sales. Get in on this one, because it is a dandy. And our title sponsor, by now, that's Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where they have a new financial incentive, which you'll love. It'll make you want to go down Highway 78, Lamar, into Mississippi. Turn left at the very first exit, Craft Road. Go see Chris True and all the gang, and take advantage of a 90-day deferment payment. You, in other words, can go pick up a brand new Hyundai, anyone on the lot, and they got more and more coming all the time. Get your new Hyundai, drive it away, and you don't pay for 3 months, 90 days before you make your first payment at Homer Skelton Hyundai. We'll pause for just a second. When we come back, Jeff, more on the NFL. That is next.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand bottled, taste tested, sent to a few friends, then taste tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com.
Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles, ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at TriumphAutoSales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Streaming only on Peacock. From the mind of Rian Johnson, the writer-director of Knives Out.
Miss Gale, you've got this gift, always knowing the truth.
I only know if something is a lie. The real trick of it is to figure out why.
Natasha Lyonne is Charlie Cale.
It wasn't an accident. I think there's been a murder.
You watch too much Dateline.
A new 10-part mystery series.
Wolves on my fender. I gotta keep moving. I have been kind of a death magnet.
Poker Face, streaming January 26th, only on Peacock.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321. That's JUDGE to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back in. Thank you for joining us this morning. You know, on Tuesdays in this time slot all the way through the Super Bowl in the week past, we chat with our friend Jeff Moore, the former Los Angeles Ram and Tennessee Volunteer, and what a great weekend it was, although, I thought some surprises for sure in domination by teams that I did not think would dominate, and stars who are supposed to step up that maybe did not step up. Yeah. What's your biggest take or two from the divisional championships?
So my biggest takeaway was the poise of Joe Burrow against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, when they took that first drive, looked so easy, and it looked like the way they were throwing the ball around and running their offense, it was like they were playing in sunshine, and it's snow everywhere. I was really impressed by that. Their first two drives, I was really disappointed at the play of Dak Prescott. I know that's all over media and so forth. But the Cowboys really, with the way their defense played, they had a chance to win that game. And the fact that, he had played so well a week before and played so horribly, I thought, in that game was probably the other big surprise for me.
Dak has declared he will never throw 2 interceptions in a game again. Yeah. That's an impossible declaration, obviously. Disappointed. How good is Dak Prescott really? I know he started off his career really, really well. He got injured. He's been injured a couple of times. He, in the biggest moments, does not seem to come through. And I have no dog in this hunt. I'm just looking at it, trying to be as objective as possible.
Me too, Dave. And what I've had to do was kind of make the distinction between Dak the person, who is lovable and great and carries himself well, and Dak the player. I think he's kind of at the bottom of the mediocre quarterbacks in the league. I think he needs a good quarterback coach. And somehow, and I don't know how you develop mental toughness, but he's demonstrated that he's not a mentally tough quarterback, which is tough to play that position and not be mentally tough, because you're going to throw interceptions. The other guys are good too. But the way that he throws interceptions, the decision-making, and teams' corners are starting to pick up little tails from him when it's a good time to jump a route and so forth. So
he's flashing maybe what he's going to do.
Yeah. So I think it's going to get worse, not better, unless he really does a deep dive in terms of how to recognize off defenses, making the decision to throw a ball away, which he rarely does, and he needs to do more. He's just got some work to do to develop mentally as a quarterback. He's got the physical skill.
I find it interesting that you say he needs a good quarterback coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to bring up, I can't remember who suggested this, but they think Josh Allen has slipped. I think Josh Allen has slipped because I think he's hurt, and they're not talking much about it.
Mm-hmm.
But some have said since Brian Daboll left to become the New York Giants head coach, he was the quarterback coach and the guru for Allen at Buffalo. And that since he's been gone, Allen hasn't been the same. Do you buy that?
I do, because he's made some really bad decisions this season. You don't see him throwing red zone interceptions. The kind of risk-taking that he's made have been somewhat decision-making, bad decisions. But it's hard to take. He's such a multi-talented guy at that position. His mental toughness, his physical toughness, his will to win, all of those, you don't want to diminish that or take that away. But he does need to do some deep dive in terms of just recognizing when is the time to throw the ball away and not make a bad play.
So you have Dak at the lower level of mediocre.
Yes.
Where do you rank your top 5 quarterbacks?
Patrick Mahomes to me is the best.
I'm with you.
And then Joe Burrow is a strong second. And then the only reason I don't have Jalen in the top higher than those two is he just hasn't had the playoff experience yet. I put Mahomes at the top because he's battle tested. I mean, he's won it all. He's they're winning. They're hosting the AFC conference championship every year, so he's got a lot of playoff experience. I think talent wise, Jalen is going to end up being as good as those top 3. But those are my top 3. And then Josh Allen is right there. I like him as 4th. And I feel like I'm missing. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers in terms of just pure quarterback talent, mental toughness, and so forth.
Where's Brady and all that?
Brady's maybe 12. I mean,
wow.
In terms of playing now, I mean, he's kind of, to me, a shell of himself. I mean, I think he's been fortunate to end up on the teams that he's had. But you can see that he's not the same Brady. I hope he retires.
You think he will?
I hope he will. I think he will because it only goes down from here, and I'd hate to see him diminish such an incredible legacy that he's built by just being the guy that everybody's saying take it easy on the old guy. He's gonna retire. I want to see him go out looking no worse than he looked this year, and he didn't look good this year.
Not in that last game. He sure did not. And all those the short throws make you wonder if he wants to do that because he's lost some fastball, and I'm not sure that's it, or he doesn't have the footwork and the leg stability to get out of trouble to buy himself enough time to go long. So I'm kind of with you. I don't think he's going to retire, but I think maybe he should retire. One guy you haven't mentioned, and rightfully so, in that whole realm, is Brock Purdy.
Okay.
And what a story this is. A rookie, last guy drafted, Mr. Irrelevant, who as a starter for the San Francisco 49ers, even in the playoffs, is undefeated.
I'm loving Brock Purdy's story. And I like the way he played when there was some adversity in the game against the Cowboys, because the Cowboys, that defense played tough the whole game. But he made some throws that really were very distinctive throws in times that they needed. The pass to Kittle, where Kittle had to bobble the ball a little bit and catch it. He's a mentally tough guy, and I love the fact that he's got the weapons around him, so there's not the kind of pressure that you typically see rookie quarterbacks have because of lack of overall talent. He's in a great position. I believe I would love to see him have a chance to be the starter going into next year, even with the other guys they have on the roster. I think he's earned it.
Jimmy G's going to go somewhere else, don't you think? And then,
well, you would think so, but we thought that last offseason. Nobody seemed to want to step up and make the deal.
I don't understand why they don't. Well, and maybe it's the Shanahan system because, obviously all these guys have been pretty successful. And there's Trey Lance. I don't know what you do with him. I think he's kind of proven he's not the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, training camp is going to determine a lot. Certainly they've got money invested, so they're going to keep him around. But I think Brock has shown that he can be the guy going into next year.
Were you surprised at the way the Giants were crushed by Philly, or the way that Cincinnati beat the heck out of Buffalo in their own home ballpark with snow that they're supposed to be the masters of?
Yeah, no, the Bengals was the surprise. I mean, to me, the way the Bengals played under those weather conditions on the road, I mean, it just speaks to the kind of mental toughness this team has and what this coach has done to prepare this team. I was not as surprised by the Eagles dominating the Giants. I think the Giants kind of were playing with house money. Nobody expected them to be there. And the Eagles had beat them twice early. I mean, they're just a better team. But it was great to see Jalen get out there and do some call running plays, take some contact, look good, throwing the ball, running the ball. I think they're the best team in the NFL right now.
All right, so we've got the conference championships. Let's start with Philly and San Francisco. Philly's the favorite in the game. It's in San Francisco. How do you see this one playing? Is it? No, it's in Philly.
It's in Philly.
It's in Philly.
Yeah, so I see Philadelphia winning this game, and I think that Brock Purdy's going to have a tough day. He's going to be going against the team that led the league in interceptions. These guys do know how to get after the quarterback. And, of course, I think the Eagles' offense, because of the multifaceted ways that they attack you, is going to give the San Francisco defense a much tougher time than the Cowboys did, obviously. So I like the Eagles by a couple of scores. I think they're going to dominate against the 49ers.
Couple of scores. Well, yeah. I think the key will be, can Purdy handle the pressure that Philly's going to throw at them?
Yeah.
And if so, I think it's going to be a better game than that. I do understand why Philly would be the favorite. The next one is interesting too, because the Bengals have had the Chiefs number 3 times in a row, and this Burrow-Mahomes thing, I think we're just beginning. This is like Brady and
it is, I love it.
And his nemesis,
Brady and
Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
Peyton Manning. So, and we're in the beginning of this. Now, the surprising thing here, and it must be because Mahomes has that ankle sprain, he's going to go, but it's the Bengals on the road in Kansas City that are now, that line started at 1.5. It is now up to 2.5. How do you view this one?
I like the Bengals in this game because, when you beat a team 3 straight times, mentally you feel like you can beat that team. Mahomes, I think, with a high ankle sprain is going to be limited. I know he's going to be out there and play. He's a mentally tough guy, but he's not going to be nearly as dangerous as he typically is, the way he manipulates the pocket. No, man, this Bengals team to me is special. The way that they're winning, they've won 10 games in a row. They've won 3 road playoff games. Their quarterback is one of the mentally toughest young quarterbacks I've seen come along in a long time. And they've got weapons outside. They run the ball well. They defense well. I think they're going to get Kansas City. I think they'll win that game on the road.
Joe Burrow, he's amazing. I mean, you think about it. Ohio State spurned him. So he goes to LSU, has one of the greatest collegiate careers of all time, or single seasons.
Yeah.
Wins the national title. And then, other than getting hurt, the guy has been a smashing success the whole time.
He has. And what I love about Joe Burrow is the way this guy just manipulates the pocket. His pocket presence is unbelievable, and he just has ice water in his vein. He just plays really, really well and tough.
I think the other aspect of it, and there's something about the home field and Mahomes. Giving Mahomes points, that's always intriguing to me. But I think if we break it down, the Cincinnati defense is better than Kansas City's defense.
Oh, no. Yeah, no question. Yeah. So, I mean, Kansas City is going to have to play a great game to win. They're going to be playing at home. Their defense is going to have a crowd behind them. But they're going to have a task trying to stop Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Man, it's going to be fun watching.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
We'll see
you next Tuesday morning. We'll have a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
All set up. That is Jeff Moore on the National Football League. He is brought to you by Ken Garland. Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Ken's been around about as long as Jeff Moore. Actually, if you talk about his dad, he's been around longer than Jeff Moore. 65 years, I think, now. We've had a Ken Garland Custom Home Builders, whether it's Ken or his dad before him. In this market, they have made beautiful, beautiful palaces. Go to kengarland.com. You'll see what I'm talking about. And then give him a call. And that could be for building that dream home. It could be for a renovation with innovation where he brings in all the modern amenities, makes your older home a modern home. I mean, anything you want, he knows about, and he can execute. And he's really fun to talk to because he's a rare guy that sees little details, big picture all at once. And the thing is, he knows you're making a financial commitment, which is why he works closely with you and ensures that you will get this on time, on budget, exceptional quality. Please go check it out. His number again is 751-1632, Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. We'll pause for a second, then to Indy we go. We talk college basketball with the Hall of Famer, Mike DeCourcy, comes your way next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test-driven, checked out from head to toe. Unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
Hi, fellas. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. And I want to thank all of you who came to see us at Russell Brothers so that Christmas would be very special for your lady. Thank you for the confidence and trust that so many of you have placed in Russell Brothers for over 38 years. And we're going to work even harder in 2023 to let you know how important you are. Whether you just need a simple battery or a $20,000 diamond ring, you will receive the very best in beauty, quality, service, and value. Our exquisite gemstones, our fashionable designs, our huge array of fine jewelry will dazzle you and will help make you a hero. And when you want to let her know how very extraordinary she is, we invite you to come and see us at Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins, or visit us at russellbrothersfinejewelers.com. After all, doesn't she deserve the very best?
My partners had told me I should get my knee replaced. I was in my 40s, and I decided that I wouldn't do that.
That's orthopedic surgeon Dr. John Herzog, who found regenerative medicine years ago and became a believer.
It changed my life around. It improved me to a point where I was able to jog again.
That's when Dr. Herzog switched his focus from surgery to helping his patients with natural biologics.
I've treated at least 5,000 patients. I believe your body has everything it needs to heal itself.
Today, you'll find Dr. Herzog at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in this exciting field of medicine that can give lasting pain relief with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery.
I have patients coming up to me that I did 10 years ago saying, Doc, my elbow's still working great. I'm playing tennis 3 days a week.
Call QC Kinetics now to explore alternative ways to deal with your pain. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Forte PE 573, MSRP 21335, K5 LSX 00991 8857, MSRP 26805. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/2023 with approved credit. Dealer stock only. Warranties a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, Jeff, my man, are you ready to almost give away some new Kias today to start the new year off right at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
You bet I am, Randy. How about 41 MPG Highway and your new 2023 Kia Forte LXS, only $254 a month. 36-month lease, $27.99 due at sign.
Hey, Jeff, how about that new K5? That thing's awesome.
We got it at just $319 a month. 36-month lease, $31.99 due at signing. Plus, with all your new Kias, you know you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. And if you don't see exactly what you want, I'll order it for you, and you won't pay over MSRP at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia, Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, wow. I just got some videos texted to me from Mickey Barker, head of Memphis Public Golf. Things are happening at Audubon. Man, they are in full swing. I don't think we're going to play there until probably spring of not this year, but the next is be all brand new. Unbelievable. Can't wait. But very cool stuff. I thank you, Mickey Barker, for that. Always fun to talk with our friend in Indy, the Hall of Famer from the Sporting News on college basketball. That is Mike DeCourcy. Oh, how the powerful and mighty have fallen. If you're number one, you're doomed, it seems to me.
Well, I think part of it for that is simply that no college basketball team this season is impervious. There's some very good teams and there's a lot of pretty good teams, and I think that's why you're seeing that. But I would not. If you told me that Houston would lose at Tulane on Tuesday night, I think it was, I wouldn't have been surprised because
that was Houston lost to Temple at home.
No, I'm saying
if they lost,
told me
yes,
that they lost that game,
yeah.
Or if you told me they went to Philly and lost, would be surprised. To lose to Temple at home, that's shocking. And it was one of those games where I had multiple duties at the time. We had 3 Big Ten games going on at once, and one of those was on our air at Big Ten Network. So I wasn't really paying super close attention, but you saw Temple hanging, and you're thinking, okay, second half, man, Houston's going to put the hammer down. They're going to win this by 20, and it never came. And that at the very end, I thought that then I obviously perked up there, and I thought that Temple executed beautifully down the stretch. And as I was pondering the end result, my first thought was, well, that Kendrick Davis basket's looking a lot bigger right now, because that win wasn't as it wasn't one of those sure things that you should have had. Now, if they can go into Houston and get a win.
Well, the interesting aspect of me was, you're talking about Temple's execution. How about Houston on the last play? They run this great play, and Tremont Mark just misses a 1-foot shot above the rim. I don't know how he missed it, because they executed the inbound perfect. They executed the 3 picks that set him up to get there, and he just missed it. But really what killed them in that game is free throws. They were 11 of 21, and Temple was 20 of 22. So they both. Wow. That's how Houston loses that basketball game, because they were just dreadful from the free throw line. So I was going to ask you this, and now it's compounded a little bit, so it's probably an easier answer. But which was the worst loss? Kansas losing at home by 23 to TCU, albeit a much, like a net 20, but still by 23 at home. Or the Houston loss at home to Temple because they miss free throws and execute a great play that they don't make?
Easily the Houston loss, because they lost to a team that is not good. I mean, maybe good. Not good. I'm going to go with not good.
What is it, 163?
Yeah, I'm going to go with not good. Although they played the Tigers really tough, and they came back and backed it up by playing to a win in Houston. Maybe they're getting better. But it's not. You can't qualify that as a good team. Kansas lost to a terrific team, one of the really good teams in the country. Now they got blasted in it, but if they were getting consistently blasted, that would be one thing. But their 3-game losing streak includes late loss to K-State on the road, blasted at home by TCU, late loss to Baylor on the road. So I don't think it's a panic deal there. I obviously you'd rather only lose one like Houston has rather than 3 like Kansas has, but Kansas is playing in a lot more difficult situation.
No doubt. How big for you, and I'm going to ask you again about bracketology. You had the Tigers, I believe, as a 10 seed last week. You're revealing your bracket today. Jerry Palm has Memphis, believe it or not, as an 8 seed after the win at Cincinnati. I believe Lenardi has Memphis as a 10 seed. How big a win do you think? I know they were 78 net when Memphis won it, and they moved to 37 after the win. You understand the dynamics of a win for Memphis at the Shoe in the 85th game. So it's a rivalry game for sure. But where does that rank for you, and how will that affect Memphis's position in your bracketology?
I think for the Tigers now, continuing to win is as important as anything. The wins don't get big until they get to the Houston games.
Yeah.
Now it's about continuing to win games. Doesn't matter who they put in front of you. You got to do a good job of beating them. And for the most part, they've done well with that. I think that the Tulane loss was a disappointment. The UCF loss was only a disappointment because it was an opportunity to get a decent win. It would have been quad 1.
Yeah, they should have won it.
You had it.
Yeah.
You had it.
Yeah, they were never in the Temple game. I mean, the Tulane game, to be honest with you. But they had the UCF game won.
Yes. So they're doing fine. I mean, at Cincinnati is not an easy win, and obviously we can say at Temple's not an easy win. So just you got to keep beating the teams they put in front of you until you get to UCF coming back. You know that's a 2-game series. UCF at home on February 16th, and then at Houston on February 19th. Between now and then, I mean, South Florida's playing better. They beat UCF the other day, so you got to pay attention to those games and take care of them. But they shouldn't be difficult games for the Tigers.
Do you see any scenario now that the American gets 3 in? I believe last week you had UCF in your next 4 out. Is there any way the American gets 3 in?
Yeah, by someone like UCF winning the auto bid. That's it. Or like doing something ridiculous like going on a 13-game winning streak. But that's not who they are. I mean, they're 13-6 now. They're not going to go out and win 12 or 8 or 10 or whatever the number is that they've got left. They're not going to win all those games. So the realistic possibility is that someone like that could put together 3 or 4 wins in a row. And I would say that's not impossible because everybody in the league now basically has shown they are within reach of the middle. Houston has shown that they can be beaten by the middle, and Memphis has certainly shown that as well. So that scenario of someone getting a surprise winner, a bid stealer, as Jerry Palm coined the phrase, that happening in the American seems possible. But I think the best case scenario for the American is if Houston and Memphis dominate the rest of the year and Houston stays at or near the 1 line and the Tigers build themselves up to a 6 or a 7.
I'm into that. I'm selfishly, I'm not the commissioner, so I'm okay with that. Where are they going to? You have them to 10? Are they moving up?
I think that's possible. Yeah. I wouldn't say too far, but yeah, they might move a little bit. Yeah. It won't really register on their iWatch that they've gotten very many steps, but they'll maybe make 1 or 2.
You know what? I'd rather stay at 10 than be a 9 or an 8, to be honest.
Yeah, it's true. But as the bracket works, you move incrementally. So yeah, you're right. It's hard to get to 10. It's hard to get from 10 to 7. unless you do what I just said, which is
right.
Win. You go on this, what you'd be looking at 1, 2, 3, like a 7-game winning streak that you can go from a 10 to a 7 or 6. And let me tell you something. If you can do that, like the 6s and the 7s are not hard to pass, and even the 5 line is really soft in spots. It's so jumbled, and you look at the teams that I have on the 7 line, and it's just they're not that accomplished. Some of them have really good metrics, but if you look at the records, they're not that great. So if the Tigers could put that together, believe me, there's room for them to climb.
Well, the truth is, if you're a 10 or an 11, it's the same as being a 7 or a 6.
But not really, because technically, as the 7, you should be playing a lesser opponent than as a 10. You're playing in the same part of the bracket, but theoretically, that 7 should be more difficult to beat. Now, you never know. A lot of it depends on who they are and how you match up and all that. But you want to be as high on the bracket as you can.
Sure.
And also because it gives you more geographical advantages as well. And like once you get down to like 8, 9, or 10 or 11, they'll send you to Anchorage if they have to.
Well, that's true. But you know what? As a 10, the way you've got it, in last week, Memphis would play Arizona State in the South, so I don't think with the pod system we'd be going far. And then you got Memphis playing Tennessee in the second round if they were to win, and that would be sweet since Rick Barnes won't play Memphis. All right, last thing for you. You wrote a nice article about Cal and Kentucky. I guess my question for you is, has Cal lost his fastball? Somebody's quoted in there as speculating that Cal's running the same stuff he ran 12 years ago on offense and that his defensive scheme is not up to date either. Do you buy that Cal has lost his fastball? It's not recruiting because you got the number 1 class in the wings.
Yeah, but that was the problem for a while. Duke made a lot of ground on getting the elite prospects, and so there has been some of that. That next year, that's one of the things that drives me. It's like, how could they be complaining? I can understand complaining. Your team's not winning at the level you want, and I can understand picking at it for that reason. But there was a guy who went to the Rupp game, a game at Rupp a week ago, 10 days ago, and held up a sign and said, "Go to Texas."
Right. Well,
and
don't you think part of that was that darn well there was dissatisfaction? He puts it out there that Texas may be interested in him because he doesn't think somebody's going to write that sign.
Well, but my point is that the person who wrote that sign is saying, "Hey, go to Texas and take Wani Wagner with you." Right. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that's like saying like you're mad at the Bengals coach and tell him to take Joe Burrow to like Phoenix or whatever. I mean, You don't do that. When you have a chance to have great players, you want the great players and hope that the coach will do a good job with them. And most of the time, 99% of the time, he has. Sometimes it doesn't work. This group has not been great. Part of the reason was that Oscar Tshiebwe, like a year ago, was absolutely dominating the lane in every game he played. And this year, it hasn't happened on a regular basis. It's happened in the last couple of weeks. But on a regular basis, if you saw the Alabama game, they took him out. He was so meager in that game. And last year, like you didn't even want to walk in the lane because you were afraid of what might happen. He'd take the ball right out of your hands, or make you look bad. And so guys didn't even want to touch it. And now it's been a little bit different until, like I said, about last Tuesday after Cal said that Oscar hadn't been working as hard as he did a year ago. I think that was a well sent message. Because then Oscar went out and tore Georgia apart.
Had his best game, yeah. As always, it's a pleasure. When do you release that bracket today?
Yeah, the bracket I sent to Fox within the last hour, and so they usually take a little bit of time to put all the graphics together, so it'll probably be out early afternoon.
All right, we look forward to that. We look forward to chatting with you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is our Hall of Famer, Mike DeCourcy, from the Sporting News. He's brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team. Matt loves the Tigers, by the way. In his phone number, 901-386, it's 4777. It stands for GER because he is a proud supporter of the Tigers. In fact, he's going on the trip with us to South Florida. But really what's most important is he's got a great way of protecting you and your family or your business. His insurance is all about collaboration. If You want great service, and you're not going to pay an arm and a leg because he works with you. You got to call Matt Eflin. He's got all these professionals standing by that will learn about your family, what's important, what your assets might be, what's your budget to protect you. That's for home, auto, life insurance. He finds out about you and protects you. Same thing with small to mid-sized businesses. He's got access to so many ways to protect you if you've got a commercial insurance need. Again, he'll know your business, he'll know your personnel, he'll know your budget, and he'll protect you. Again, that number is 386-4777, the Eflin Insurance Team. Johnny Radio comes your way in just a minute. Have a good day, everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Woloshin here for Homer